Grog.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Cider Shed podcast. I'm joined by the ever-ready Keri Warbis.
Oh, dearie, dearie. Now, this is a reference to the fact that I've forgotten what day it is and have done 0 notes. And it took me by surprise when Matthew sent me this lovely picture of all of his notes already sitting in front of a glowing computer going, ready just after the episode. And I just went, shit. Hadn't realised we were doing it tonight. So this is kind of a disclaimer. I don't know what's going on.
You'll be absolutely fine, Keri.
Thank you, Matthew.
Because you've done the tweet along, so it's all stored in there somewhere, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, that filled me with... That was as convincing as Stella's reaction when Pip said, well, the three of us, because Rosie would be coming on holiday with us too. And Stella had to, in real time, just went, oh, right, lovely.
Pip is an abomination. How does she suddenly know all about bloody viruses and stuff?
I'm getting this vision of Pip in like those early aughts movies where she's sat there with a hoodie on and she's like tapping away at a computer in a darkened room, and then suddenly like the site opens up and she just sits back with a hoodie and goes, we're in.
Yeah, like the Matrix or something.
It didn't help that when they got hacked, the computer made the weirdest noise.
Yeah, that was good.
Ever. It was like a Space Invaders thing, wasn't it? This is what I heard. I don't know if my memory kind of is a bit sketchy. That was what happened, right?
Was that chair moving at the end again?
Yeah.
Take a seat, lads.
Poor old Jason, he's still nervous.
It kind of just went, it was like a sort of, have you actually got the sound that they made?
I haven't, but it was like it was like a little bomb sound, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, does that happen? It was all very if primary school children wrote about a cyber attack.
Yeah, it was.
Kind of thing. To me, anyway. I mean, I don't know anything about it.
Speaking of primary school children writing things, we're going to have a little ad and then we'll come back and get stuck into it. We'll hack our way into it, even.
Ooh, has a primary school child written your ad?
They always do. I'm forever referencing Big Train, as I did twice. But there is a very good sketch in that where they have Simon Pegg as a really naff local radio DJ. And he's kind of in between one of the songs and he starts fading down. He's trying to make a joke about bats or something. And he starts doing really bad. And he was like, suppose if they drove cars, they'd be on bat petrol. And he's just like, and then in the end, he just gets up, grabs a baseball bat. And this producer goes, where are you going? He goes, I've got no gags. And he goes walking down this corridor, running the baseball bat along the wall as he goes. And he walks in and there's loads of like 8-year-olds at typewriters. He's going, where are my jokes? And then it turns into an ad zooming out from school photos. And it says, Little Tommy, taken by Radio Leicester. And it's like, every year, children are forced to write jokes for local radio stations.
Oh, very good.
My sycamore tree is sinking into the mud.
Honey, you know who you need to call.
I need to make these overhanging branches safe and sound.
Garden, forest, or park, we're there for you.
That willow is so ugly, I feel like screaming.
Trees are our speciality. Little grunge tree surgery. Book now. We're smashing.
Pumpkins on offer in the village shop.
Let's start where we were before the ad break, the cyber attack.
Yeah, I was hoping when they said it was Brian who caused it, of course, I was thinking, oh, maybe he's like clicked on a link and given his bank details and all the business and his own personal finances are being drained away as we listen, which will mean the business will go bankrupt. He'll have to live in a yurt. The Aldridges are broke. Alice can't have rehab. All goes to shit.
They were getting very worried about the consequences, weren't they? What if they're into the accounts or CCTV, the harvester schedule, Adam's OnlyFans?
Adam's bank account.
Brian's gone for the full Neil parish Tory MP defence. I was just opening an email about tractors, honestly.
Can you imagine how gutted the hackers are going to be when they have a clock at what's been going on about seed drills?
Bunch of 20-year-olds looking at Justin and
Polytunnels.
Yeah, Martin Gibson. The one thing they might get is Martin Gibson's blind date appearance and blackmailing with it.
But Stella was super impressed with Pip's calmness. That was a shame. And they're going, the holiday thing, that was funny.
Where are they going?
Where would they go?
Oh, it'll be Cornwall or something like that, wouldn't it? Wales.
What, at this point, they're booking Cornwall?
Why, you think it's too late?
Yeah.
Why has Neil Parish, Tory MP, blocked the road with tractors?
I hope they go abroad, do something wild and get on an aeroplane.
Who goes abroad apart from Denise? Did we even hear that was happening?
No. And where do you think they've gone? That wasn't said either, was it?
I think she's gone back out to the Caribbean with John.
Well, I think she's with John, but I thought they'd gone on a holiday together. That does make sense that they would go there. I hope that they rekindle everything and that their marriage is never better than it is now.
And she gives up being a nurse.
And she gives up being a nurse. She gives up on Alistair.
They win the lottery, rediscover their sex life.
And fuck off.
She was posing with mojitos in front of like a palm tree in a beach. She could just be in Whispers, getting drinks off Leon.
Yes. His personal service. What about Paul and his Etienne?
Dull Etienne. So dull that even Lillian knows. Because she said to Josh, like, what's the problem with Paul? He seemed very down. And Josh was like, look, I can't really say anything. And then proceeded to say everything. He's a terrible gossip. I got the impression this week, particularly in their first scene, was it on Monday, that Josh and Lily are major stoners.
Well, they were very chilled, weren't they?
Yeah.
Perhaps they are.
They were about one toke away from being like, that cloud looks like a dragon.
You look like a dragon. We're both dragons.
The only thing that makes me think they weren't getting stoned is that Lily then went to a spinning class, but she was laughing about the state of herself at the spinning class, so maybe she did. I mean, you know, when you're baked...
She thought she was at a spin class.
Yeah. She was actually on a Peloton. I mean, Josh's paranoia, though, as well, another piece of evidence.
The chickens are calling.
My chicken's calling. I sounded like a chicken then.
He also thinks that, like, he has a fitness class with them. Listen.
The chickens keep me fit.
He's lost it.
Oh, he's gone to a spin class with his chickens. But Etienne, he wants an open relationship, doesn't he?
Yes.
Now, he either does want an open relationship in a sort of semi-healthy way, or it's a way of dumping Paul.
Yeah, Paul seems to be taking that very badly.
I think those around him are taking it more badly than Paul. Was he not going, oh, no, it's fine, I don't mind. Why would I want to stop seeing him?
Well, they reckon they could hear muffled sobbing coming from his room. Maybe he was just looking at Bartleby's TikTok.
Yes. Or he found Alistair's diary.
Yeah. They did do that right thing. They had that conversation with like, well, should we just intervene? Because maybe he's really depressed and he's not saying anything.
Yeah, they're sweet.
I could listen to Lily say the word crap forever.
Crap.
Her and Freddie have just got fantastic voices, haven't they?
I don't know how Lily sometimes is a bit...
Oh, I like it.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. In relation to Freddie's voice, and we've heard this before, I believe, Nola Griffin posted a clip of her waiting for the train to Battersea Park Station, and Freddie told her where the next train would be stopping. He's got the gig, hasn't he, of the train voiceover. I've heard that before.
Oh, there was another person who does Mind the Gap from The Archers, wasn't there?
That's Josh. He thinks it's a chicken.
Mind the Gack. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's brilliant, isn't it? To be an announcement.
Because for years, people thought the Mind the Gap voice was automated until they found the person that did it and they talk like this.
What are your thoughts on this open relationship suggestion, though?
I know friends that do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think if both parties agree, then it's fine. One of the saddest things I ever saw was Louis Theroux, one of his documentaries. He went to go and spend a week with these swingers in America,
God.
and it was very clearly just the bloke wanted to do it and not the woman, and they were having orgies, and he was pretty much sleeping with every woman, and the woman herself really wasn't getting involved. She was like making the tea.
Oh no, I think
And Louis Theroux kind of pushed her on that.
Pushed her on the tea. Look, but things are bad enough for her already. But isn't it like quite common that usually one of those parties is more into it than the other?
I think so, yeah.
What I think should happen is that the whole of Ambridge should be in an open relationship with each other and just sort of have a bit of an orgy on the green.
Well, I mean, Shula gave it a good go back in the day.
Indeed. Yeah.
Her body count's pretty high, isn't it?
Body count. That is what they call it nowadays, isn't it?
I did see a massive misunderstanding once.
Oh, no.
Somebody asked a guy in LA or someone like this, like, what's your body count? And he went, where are you from? And he said, New York. He went, we don't talk about that kind of stuff here, you know? We don't talk about that. And the guy literally thought he was asking, how many people have you killed? He's like, I just mean how many people you slept with. He went, oh, okay.
And hopefully the amount that you've killed is slightly less than the amount you've slept with.
Yes, and not the same people.
Yeah, and one didn't happen before the other. Do you think Bartleby is going to die before this whole silly, like, bidding war thing of £1,500 happens?
Very tidy that's what they said Emma would need for a deposit on a van.
Yeah, just a bit.
Remember we were talking last week about the transmission of strangles?
Mm-hmm.
Ambridge Pony Club sent me a message saying that it's pretty much can be transmitted on anything. It's airborne, everything spreads strangles. If you get sneezed on by a horse, it's on your hair, it can spread everywhere. Hands, clothes. She said Bartleby is toast, Oliver probably the vector.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, imagine if Oliver passes it on to Bartleby, and then Bartleby fucks off to Meg Mellor's idyllic sanctuary and kills every horse in the gaff.
I mean, that isn't funny, obviously, if it was real life. But as it isn't, I'm allowed to laugh.
And her place is for old horses, isn't it?
Oh, no. Jeez. I was thinking that Bartleby would get it and cark it before the deal happened.
Or cark it after the deal happened, and the Grundys are like, nope, sorry.
Yeah. No refunds, bye.
They had a secret ballot, didn't they?
Oh, my God. Yes, they did. Yeah.
Except Jake is such a fucking idiot. He can't even type
He put W.
He put W.
Whatever. That's what kids will do in the election, isn't it? General election.
Yeah.
I did do a tweet where I said, if they vote to sell Bartleby, the Tories will win the general election. And then that happened. And people going, what have you done?
Did you put a bet on beforehand, Keri?
Yeah. But I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think Bartleby will go.
It's Meg Mellor. George was like, all right. Oh, no, Mum, you didn't talk to her. Did you discuss donation sponsorship? Product placement? What product placement are you going to have with Bartleby?
Lasagnas?
A few years ago, maybe.
Yeah, I didn't really get why this woman wanted to buy Bartleby.
No, she was just very taken with him, wasn't she? And probably more money than sense.
What, so she just thinks, oh, perfect for my sanctuary.
Yeah.
She goes around buying old nags.
Well, she said yeah, I know. Peggy's still available, isn't she?
I'd love to see her frolicking in the field.
Yeah, I'd like a companion Peggy.
The Strangles horses.
Because he's going to be a companion pony, isn't he? So does that mean he's like friends with horses or friends like with people? But the first half of the week, Emma was saying all he does is growl and swear and fart. And then by the end of the week, she was like, we can't give up Bartleby. He's family.
Yeah, it does sound like one of the members of their family.
I did like it when Will was like, okay, so who says what? What about Ed? What does he say, Emma? And she went, I don't know. Like, I'd have to text him. Then he said, I'll text him. He went, all right, he says sell.
It's very peculiar, this whole thing. Another peculiar little patch in Ambridge, isn't it?
And Poppy and Kira got to vote as well.
Yeah, there were a lot of voters.
It was 10 in total.
Yeah, because and it was really sort of announced very formally as well, wasn't it?
Had it been a tie, Oliver would have got the deciding vote, which I thought was a bit odd.
It was the least odd thing about it.
He did get his day in the sun at Borsetshire County. Was it Borsetshire County Fair? He was getting all the attention in the VIP area. And then Ed and Emma got called away because there was more trouble at the bridge with a tree.
Oh,
And
yes.
what's his name? Greg Massivecock called them.
Hank Growcock.
Hank Growcock. What did I say? Greg.
Massive cock.
And they got all excited. They got paid quite a lot of money.
I reckon they've
And-
chopped down the wrong tree. Something bad's got to happen.
Yeah, it's kind of a Hadrian's Wall job, isn't it? They've cut down the tree at the Sycamore Gap and they're going to get a massive
Yeah,
lawsuit.
not that bridge.
And then Emma got back. She was like, I don't want to say, but in the uniform, it felt like Ghostbusters. That day was the 40th anniversary of Ghostbusters.
Wow. Yeah, and they're going to buy a new van
Well, that's the plan, isn't it?
on the basis of having dealt with two things to do with trees.
I like the way they were like, oh, we can just dip into Will's money. But now they're going to sell Bartleby. Let's see what happens. I'm sure Bartleby will have something to say about it. We heard this week that he swears.
Did we, Matthew?
Will said he was actually swearing at people at one point.
My
And-
God. What on earth are they talking about?
People were coming up to Bartleby and saying how cute he was. They wanted selfies with him. They were offering him crisps. He said it was only when Meg Mellor came along that he got all smiley. He was swearing at everyone else and curling his lip.
Ah, right, okay. Curling his lip. That is swearing, is it, in horse world?
I think, no, the two things were not the same. I think he actually
Oh,
believes
he-
that he swears. I can make it happen.
I bet you can. What would a horse say that's a swear word? Buck off.
Very good, Keri.
Mm.
We've only just had a bad horse gag situation on the pod. We can't do another one because
That'll do.
it's
Buck
finite,
off.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish Bartleby would buck off, to be honest. Please end this
We're going to have a Ghost of Bartleby character fairly soon, I think.
with Joe.
Yeah, that would be good, wouldn't it? Yeah, so I think he's out the stable door
Hmm.
at some point. I'm not quite sure when. George went, you don't just talk to Meg Mellor. I was like, George, you didn't even know the fuck she was about 3 days ago. And she owns a house for old horses.
A house.
Oh, not a house.
I want to go to a house that old horses live in.
I just got a vision of them all sat down with crocheted blankets over them watching daytime TV.
Yeah.
Change the channel, will you?
With antimacassars on the backs of chairs because of the manes that are a bit greasy.
Yeah, I mean, let's just say the situation at the stables. Paul was there doing Jakob's work because Jakob's gone to a conference, or I don't know where I lost track of that. Oliver's rode back on his anger a little bit and his finger pointing, hasn't he? In him being so understanding, Lillian got quite upset in all of that as well, didn't she? Oliver was there saying it's not your fault. You run a good stables, and she was kind of crying and going.
That
like,
was
"Oh,
on Monday, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think no, I could have done better. So she kind of feels like she's been.
I'm losing my grip.
Yeah, she's like at the helm of the horse Titanic, as far as she sees it.
And Oliver sort of went, oh, I know exactly how you feel because the similar thing happened at Grey Gables with me, but that turned out all right. And it's like, you've got 3 people working there. There's nobody knows who's on reception. What you on about? Hasn't turned out all right at all.
It was a disaster. The horses that put in the new kitchen just didn't know what they were doing.
With Roy away, a spreadsheet goes slightly wrong. Chaos.
Yeah.
This is a high-end hotel. What on earth is going on?
The 60%ers must be doing their nut.
Who are they?
We don't know. We know that they were brought. They got invited to the hunt, didn't they?
Mm.
But other than that, we don't know. But considering they came in with massive investment,
Mm-hmm.
their man on the inside buggers off to Pakistan,
Yeah.
and Roy, who's meant to be the next in line, goes off to Bulgaria.
Yes.
They've got one person who seems to be doing a lot of the admin is only on a placement from a rival.
Great. A security guard that looks like Wurzel Gummidge.
Yeah. It is just a joke, this place, isn't it?
Yeah.
I give it about 2 weeks before it blows up again.
Yeah. No, well, Ian's head of food, so it'll all be fine.
Between Grey Gables and the EV charging station, you've just got two storylines which have just been massively forgotten.
Yeah, that's all gone quiet. EV charging station, hasn't it?
Yep, they're writing her out.
Yeah, we haven't heard anything about that.
I felt at one point Josh was going to say to Paul, Etienne's so dull. The writers didn't even give him a microphone.
Do you think Paul and Josh might get it on?
No, I don't think so. Josh was very into the flautist from that band.
Yes, but that doesn't necessarily mean...
No, it doesn't. But I don't see that happening.
There are wonderings on Twitter. That's why I ask. And then there are other people going, Josh isn't gay. So, I don't know.
Doesn't have to be gay, does he?
No.
Let's have a little word from our sponsors, and then we'll be back to talk about God's Cop.
God's cock.
God's Cop. It's a song by the Happy Mondays.
Who's it?
Can someone please help me stick this glittery heart to Mummy's birthday card?
Yes, of course, darling. Just dab a little of this magic on there.
I can't get the wings to stick to my Airfix plane. What can I do?
Don't panic. We'll get it airborne before you know it.
Oh no! I've broken Grandma's special toy she keeps hidden in the bottom drawer. I need to put it back together before she gets back from Swindon. Someone, help me!
Just apply this and hold it tight. It'll be up and buzzing for Grandma just like before. If you're in a sticky situation and just can't form the right bond, then why not try Meg Mellor's Shropshire Glue? Meg Mellor's Shropshire Glue is available at all regional branches of Underwoods, so don't chomp at the bit the next time you can't hold things together. Canter along to Underwoods and let Meg Mellor get you back in the sticky saddle.
Thank you, Meg Mellor.
Warning. Direct inhalation of Meg Mellor's Shropshire Glue should only be done Sunday to Friday between 7 p.m. and 7:15 p.m. and at some point on Sunday morning if they haven't fucked with the schedule again by the time this ad goes out.
How realistic is it, do you think, that somebody reacts in this way? I have one case where I know that somebody did react like that.
It's a very extreme reaction, I feel, by Harrison. And Alan is not really helping particularly, I don't think. He's offering this service and you can apply for a certificate and so on, because he needs to sort of mark things in some way. And he said, you will talk to Fallon, won't you? And he sort of went, yeah. And then hasn't. But Alan definitely shouldn't have just gone to Fallon, oh, look, I'm trying to sort out everything for service without knowing what's happened. What has the conversation occurred?
I'll have a latte, a cinnamon bun, and if you just want to fill out this dead baby ceremony form here, Fallon.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely dreadful etiquette.
And fair play to Fallon.
Yeah.
All right, we had a little bit of a pop at her pie-lie laugh last week, but she was brilliant, wasn't she?
She was.
When she said pathetic.
Yeah, and
it
is pathetic.
And she went, so, and she doubled down, didn't she? So pathetic. And then she was like, hey, Kirsty, yeah, completely changed my mind.
Yeah,
we're going
let's
out
have it.
Yeah, we're going out on the lash.
Have it large tonight. And we're not waiting for my birthday, we're going now.
Do you think they're going to the same place as Paul, Josh and Lily?
Oh, I hope so.
They were going to hit the town tonight, wasn't it? Paul was like, I want to take you guys out. I don't know where he was taking them. His idea, he used to go to bingo and a karaoke place, didn't he, Paul? So maybe, who knows where they'll end up.
Yeah, is George going out as well?
He might be.
Is this where Fallon and George cop off?
Are you just throwing that in, or do you think you heard George say he was going out?
Well, I, as I've already confessed, have no notes. I did half-assed tweet-alongs this week. My attention to detail is even less than it normally is. So I don't know. George popped into my head then and I thought, is he going out?
Well, you'll kind of get a second stab at it, Keri, won't you? Because I think we'll probably do a little Friday add-on just before the football tomorrow.
We'll do that.
And by then, hopefully, I'll have been able to send you an edit. And you can think, didn't say this, should have said that, etc., as we always do.
Yeah, but the George thing would be interesting, wouldn't it? If Fallon really goes for it and lets rip a bit. I mean, I'm not saying that all drunken women sleep with inappropriate people, of course.
But thankfully for me, for the years between...
Then Alan sort of said, maybe we should have a little private service. I'm like, why didn't you fucking offer that in the first place?
What's disturbing for me is that Harrison's becoming so dependent on Alan that he's actually like reverted to toilet training. Did you hear this bit?
Actually, I have done something. It's quite big, actually. Oh.
Is it? I reckon they should have a special service for it. He's given birth to a brown log.
Yes, this is, ladies and gentlemen, we're here to pay respect to the baby otter.
Oh, gosh. Yes, my anus gave birth to a sausage.
Yeah, it's a right old mess, isn't it? I mean, Alan should not... First of all right, if Harrison is considering this and he's gone ahead and already started the process, put his name down as father without even consulting Fallon, then Alan doesn't think to check and just walks in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Harrison said like, I'll definitely talk to her. He said, I will, but still, Alan should have known to not walk into the tea room and say that. Particularly Kirsty's there as well with her backstory.
Oh, it's just, and also like Fallon was going, my business yet again is becoming a public domain.
And it's going to end up being some bloody service in the church which anyone can attend.
Oh, God.
Yeah, you'd go nuts, wouldn't you? It's a good job he doesn't carry a firearm. I think Fallon would have plugged him by now. At least one in his cock to make sure this never happens again.
It's like, you know how the Tories seem to be willfully fucking up their election campaign?
Yes.
You know, with like gaff after gaff after gaff. Well, Harrison is doing the same to his marriage.
But he said to Fallon that he's so stricken by it and haunted by it, isn't he? He's waking up in the middle of the night. They made a deal last week not to talk about it.
Oh, yeah.
And now he's kind of stuck in this thing where he's like, he needs to express himself. So he goes to Alan, and then Alan starts booking Westminster Cathedral for him.
I know. And he used that as an excuse to Fallon. Well, you told me I couldn't talk to you about it, so I've gone and told everyone else. You don't, like, yes, she said, I don't want to necessarily speak about it in that way, but you don't go ahead with a service notion and also the certificate thing without saying something about it.
And Harrison said, I'm feeling something, but I just don't know what it is. Alan at that point should have been, have you had breakfast, Harrison? You might just be hungry. Pop into the tea room.
Yeah, you've got your hand on my crotch.
So, Keri, a little word about Friday night. I did say that Paul, Lily and Josh would end up in the same club as, or the same bar as them.
Yeah. So what's going to happen?
I don't know. I mean, Fallon's just rat-assed, isn't she?
Yeah, but good old Kirsty, she's being a lovely friend. I don't think she'll leave her.
And Fallon's there going, someone kind of spilt something down there and vomited and did a little poop. Don't know who that was, but, it's not very nice.
It's her, isn't it? She's done it herself.
Fair play to them, managing to find the only late 80s acid house night in the Midlands.
Yeah, you could hear that track in the background. And what did you feel about Harrison's service?
Polar opposites, isn't it?
Yeah, couldn't have been much more, could it?
Some big echoey church. The door closes like it's Game of Thrones or something. Or the only thing missing is ravens up in the rafters in that scene, isn't there? And then it's like, we're going to say some prayers. And then there'll be pauses, no music. And you might hear the sound of us breathing, the breeze in the trees, or 6 million listeners going, For fuck's sake. I could be watching the warm-up of the footy.
I know. I think quite a few tweeters had half an eye on their TV. It was very sort of strangely formulaic and unspontaneous. I mean, I know it's not going to be contemporary dance or anything, but I did think describing how everything is going to go and then you have to do it. I don't understand that really, as far as like a small church service.
Harrison has a 1,000-yard stare at all times now, and he's just looking like someone who's still trying to figure out how to put his own pants on. So I just think he has to be walked through everything. Tomorrow morning, Alan's going to have to come round and show him how to take the top off his boiled egg.
But do you think it sounded like he's sort of pretty much cured now? It was like, oh, it feels like a release now. I thought, oh, good. Is he going to just go back to normal? Thank God.
Cut to him throwing shapes on the dance floor next to Fallon.
Oh, yeah. Do you think he'll burst into that nightclub? Go, it's all right, love. I don't care anymore.
John Travolta style, like white suit, medallion.
I was surprised. I thought Fallon was going to have a bit of a snot bubble moment and break down a little. Maybe that's coming.
Sometimes when I tune into the Archers, expecting hope, I know despair. But I want to know that there's more than despair. I think that's why people listen to us.
Do we give them more than despair?
I think the idea that you're adding more than despair, meaning that's like you're going back in the right direction, aren't you?
Yeah. I just thought, thank goodness for Kirsty. That was my overriding feeling from the episode.
I mean, neither of them are that angry away from each other. Harrison is saying to Alan, look, every time we try to talk about it, it just ends in an argument and one of us says something we don't mean. And Fallon's there saying that, you know, she's been upset by it and she doesn't want to keep having those conversations. And then they move on. She's like, you know, that's enough about me and Harrison. What about you, Kirsty? And she went, well, bloody-minded, loudmouth pigs. And she was like, enough about Harrison, Kirsty.
She did say as well, Fallon, about people controlling her.
Yeah.
And that was a slightly interesting bit, wasn't it?
It's gone a bit Handmaid's Tale, isn't it?
Yeah.
So maybe it's that element.
I liked it when Alan sort of went, sometimes there just aren't the words. I thought, yeah, that's why they've got scripts.
Yeah. Perhaps we could just sit in silence. I think at that point I was like, yeah, just try it. Try it for a few minutes and then go back to the nightclub.
Yeah. Everyone tuning into Radio 4 accidentally at that point will think the nuclear missiles are on their way or something.
Kirsty is being a mate. She was going to call Rex. I mean, I presume Rex at some point does let people know if he doesn't want to be disturbed. We are to presume they're going into the small hours at this point when they're in the club.
Yeah.
No major earthquakes, but quite a important episode, I think. Even though I found the church stuff a little bit much.
I think the earthquake will come when Fallon's
gets back on the dance floor.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Apparently Taylor Swift fans caused a seismic earthquake-like activity in Scotland, didn't they?
Was it Scotland? I thought it was South America.
Oh, maybe it's everywhere she goes. It was in Scotland last week.
Oh, okay. Have you seen the... seems to be quite a thing on Twitter this week. Americans didn't realise how cold Scotland is, and there's lots of footage of her at gigs with like snot running out of her nose, and she keeps kind of like delicately taking it away.
Yeah.
But then someone found footage of her playing a song on the piano when it happened a year or so ago, and she just gets her tongue and licks it up.
Well, we've all done that, haven't we?
Yes.
Especially when millions of people are staring at you.
Every time I'm on stage in front of 120,000 people, I always eat a booger, Kerry.
I always drink my own salty snot.
We should just say Toby Lawrence, who plays Freddie, now follows the Cider Shed podcast on Instagram.
Lovely. Yeah, he was getting some, well, not abuse, but he was kind of laughing on his Instagram, wasn't he? About some not great comments about Freddie as a character. We stood up for him, didn't we?
I just said, we love you, Freddie, completely forgetting that he is in fact Toby.
Yes. Yeah. Not sure if we're keen on Toby. Have no idea. But Freddie's great.
Yeah, when Toby's telling you there's going to be a rail replacement service and it isn't coming till 2 a.m, not so keen. But when he's Freddie Pargeter, here for it.
Oh, yeah. That must be weird because he's actually posted some on his Instagram, hasn't he? Screenshots of comments that he reads.
Yeah, don't worry, Toby. I mean, I don't think anyone... He says he finds it funny, so I don't think people take this that seriously. You should see the things that are said about us.
Yeah.
Mainly by Repulsive Banana on Reddit.
Yeah.
Before they headed for l'exit.
Oui.
Okay, Keri.
Yes, darling.
Speaking of feedback and stuff like that, let's have a little break and then go into our socials, etc.
This Wednesday, at Felpersham's hottest new venue, the Repulsive Banana, fresh from his appearance at the county fair, and in an all-adult X-rated show, George Grundy Eventing presents Sweary Bartleby.
A dare tricking with Shula? I'd rather f*** myself up the arse.
Tickets available now from Grange Farm. Compare on the night, all the way from Fawcett Magner. Celia Sparrow.
Good evening, Felpersham. Now, what's the deal with that Helen Archer?
Hey, Keri, guess what?
What?
We've had an email.
Good, I like these. What does it say?
It says, Hello, Cider Shed. Last night, I dreamt I listened/watched the final episode of The Archers, which was filmed and shown on BBC 4. The tweet-along was furious that the only regular cast members were Harrison, Brad, and Jill, supported by guests such as Tim Roth, a minor royal, a Tory MP, etc., walking through the village. The climax was Harrison being chained to a post in the village hall and concluded with him blackmailing the politician into freeing him and allowing Ambridge's favourite unnamed radio programme a few more months to wrap up the storylines. They then write, the Tory, in brackets, of fucking course, had no choice but to agree. It wasn't quite an explosion killing the whole village, but odd nonetheless. I love listening to you both, in brackets, and Peter when he's not in Swindon, and hope this nightmare never ends. Emily, a.k.a. the Ballad of Bowen.
Wow, Emily.
Emily, you should have changed your team in the final months of the league.
Yes.
Yeah, I think she threw it to allow Peter not to finish last.
Oh, do you think she's actually some sort of pseudonym for Peter's missus or something?
But thanks for the email, Emily.
That was greatly bizarre. Love it.
I had a dream one time, I think I've mentioned it before, that I found out just one day randomly channel hopping that there was The Archers was on TV and they just did it with kind of the Sims type animation. I was just sat there absolutely fascinated, being like, why didn't no one ever tell me this was happening? So there was kind of like these kind of very pixelated people just walking around while the episode was happening.
Hand on heart, I have never had a dream about The Archers.
Maybe tonight you will, Keri.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
In the middle of the week, we did a little time travel special, Deck the Hall of Notes. It focused on a recommendation by listener Kate to go back to the 29th of November 2009 omnibus. There was a lot going on that week, wasn't there, in terms of just like village things happening. There was the village shop was under threat. They were trying to figure out if they could save the village shop. The village was also trying to decide on whether they wanted a mass grave or an allotment, which was a bit strange.
I know which I'm in favour of.
And Leon was revealed to be a little bit of a player, and Helen was getting a bit freaked out. But we had some comments, principally, let's just say, Ryan Kelly, who plays Jazzer, commented.
One of our Patreon supporters. Yep.
Yeah. And he said, I think this omnibus included Norman's last episode. That would be Norman Painting, who played Phil, wasn't it? Very sad, but nice to hear again. As you might remember, Philip Archer died on the 12th of February 2010, so that was his last Christmas. He'd already written Jill's Valentine card, though, which was read on Sunday, Valentine's Day, the 14th of February, I guess, 2010. A wee trip down memory lane. Thanks, guys. That's nice, isn't it? There were a lot of people who were no longer in the Archers for one reason or another.
There were a lot of characters, actually, in the episode, weren't there?
Alex Hodge said, I've just listened to the actual omnibus and I'm now going to listen to the podcast. I'm looking forward to seeing what Keri and Matthew say about it. It was strange hearing all those characters who have either died or no longer appear. I'd forgotten all about Tiger going to prison. Poor Pushcat. And they said, I liked the fact they mentioned Bert Fry's son. Badger!
Badger!
Yeah, they said that Bert was away, didn't they, I think? Or that's where he was going for Christmas, wasn't that the chat?
That's it. Yeah.
And Francesca said, can't wait to listen to this episode. It's from a brief period where I didn't listen regularly, so I'm looking forward to seeing what I missed. And then on the actual main episode, the comments we had, Tina said, I'm so glad you're going back in time to this episode. A while back, I started from the beginning of the episodes available via Tom Archer on YouTube, and I'm really enjoying them. I'm up to May 2010. I became a regular listener of the Archers in 2016, a few weeks before Helen stabbed Rob. So there are a lot of characters I've heard of but never knew. Listening to these older episodes, I've heard Jack, Phil and Brenda for the first time. I've gotten to know Mike Tucker and Kathy Perks better. Hearing the details of all the backstories is really fascinating. I know Phil is dead in present-day Archers, but was still shocked when he just recently died in my historical listening. He was in the chair, wasn't he? Jill came in and found him.
Was that not Jack?
I think Jill came in and found Phil there as well. They'd been outside. And that was also how Eddie found Joe. Joe left the cider shed early, didn't he?
Did God never sit down in Umbridge?
No, it's fatal. Must keep moving at all times. We'll have to see how many times a character says, like, would you like a seat? And they say, no, thanks.
Yeah, chair deaths.
But then Tina says, enough of my rambling. I try to be snarky when I comment, but I end up being sentimental. I do, however, enjoy your snark. Thanks for the podcast. I appreciate you both. Mandy said, yeah, thanks, Tina. Mandy said, this is ace. Love it when you do the old episodes. Forgotten about Vicky. What an annoying twat. Don't reckon Sleazy Leon's accent was legit. Helen was a nightmare back then.
Back then?
I remember this storyline when she tried to guilt that young girl into having Leon's baby. Was it Annabelle? Greg's kid? Helen was so awful, manipulative, and pro-life wankfest to her.
Mm-hmm.
Geez, she's a spoiled, entitled gobshite.
Yes.
Much like Alice. Sorry, rant over. Really enjoyed the episode. Just listen to the Tom Baker bit. Absolute gold. Yeah, we included Tom Baker's outtakes from his voiceover work for Symphony Furniture. I will put it in the episode description for this episode this week. You can check it out.
It's so good.
And Louise said, I've got a major Nigel-shaped gap in my listening years. Thank God. Moved in with my partner in 1994. That put paid to the Sunday omnibus. He hasn't drunk the Shire's Kool-Aid. Started listening again in 2012. But perhaps I'm being harsh. Shagging Shula and Lizzie is bound to send you round the twist. Loved Vicky. Interesting to hear how Ambridge's perception of Linda has changed. She's now got her rightful place as a national treasure. Yeah, were they kicking back against Linda a little bit in that episode?
I think, yes. I mean, they still do to a degree, don't they? But it has changed a bit.
Speaking of patron, let's welcome new patron Kate Lyle.
Oh, yes. It's Kate Lyle. Great to see you joining the Cider Shed posse. We've saved a seat for you. Thanks so much.
I know Kate Lyle is. Lovely.
Thank you very much, Kate. Much appreciated. And Bridget Harrison.
Hey there, Bridget Harrison. Welcome into the Cider Shed Patreon. You are most welcome. Thanks so much for all your support.
Woo-hoo.
Thank you very much, Bridget. If you want to become a patron and support us and get those midweek specials and the main podcast ad free and early, generally on a Saturday as soon as it's ready, You can do that by going to www.patreon.com/The Cider Shed.
Well done.
Did it, Keri?
I'm proud of you, love.
That there is an outtake in the Patreon episode this week of me trying to say that at least 7 times. Keri's becoming... It was like another thing I've always loved listening to are the Trogs outtakes in the studio when they're arguing with each other.
Oh, yeah.
And they're getting more and more angry as the session goes on. And they do all sound like characters from The Archers, funnily enough.
I tried to be patient.
Yeah, there was one point where Keri just went, fucking hell.
Sake, what are you doing?
So yeah, that's one way you can support us.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have reviews, Keri?
We do have a review.
Yeah, you can support us by writing a review. That's nice and tidy.
Yeah, and if you're not sure how to do that, then we always put the instructions in the podcast notes. And we always welcome these 5-star reviews. They help us enormously. So Andy Mer3 has sent a 5-star review, and it says, "Ever wondered why you listen?" And then that's the title. And they've continued with, "The Cider Shed won't help you understand, but at least you'll know you're not alone. Great pod, really funny, with great plot insights and predictions. Badger."
Nice. Thank you. And
Andy Mer.
Yeah, you can follow us on Facebook. We have a Facebook group called the Cider Shed Podcast. It's kind of a safe haven for people who've been driven out of other Facebook groups. Yeah, some of them are a bit pearl clutchy. We're not. Just, the basic rule is just don't be nasty.
Unless it's about the Archers.
John Featonby sent a photo of what looks like a kind of a signal box on a street, and someone has written on it, "Harry got battered and cried, lol." And he's just written, "And that was the last we saw of young Mr. Chilcott in my hometown."
Oh, gosh, I hope that happened.
Do you think Alice being out of it for a considerable period of time means that Harry won't be back?
Ooh, I hope Harry won't be returning. That character was not one of my favourites. I'm not sure how it would further anything if he did return.
I don't want Harry back. It's just as simple as that, really.
Yeah, exactly.
And the last thing I want is it's going to sound terrible, but I don't want a healthy, happy Harry being back in the Archers.
Oh, God, no. I've just imagined it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the smugness.
Yeah.
No,
and then he gets to
that cannot happen.
Have the moral high ground with Alice as well.
Oh, Lord. Which he had all the time anyway, by the tone of his voice. Yeah.
So yeah, our other socials, Keri does the Twitter, don't you?
I do, at the Cider Shed Pod, and Blue Sky at the Cider Shed Pod.bsky.social.
All right. Well, there will be a little add-on for Friday, but you'll have already heard that by now, I think. So we will be completist and stick that in. Other than that, Keri, I guess we will let everyone go off into their weekend, and I'll go off into my edit suite.
Oh, with a little bit of euros.
What? Some money?
Football.
Oh, football, yeah, it's tomorrow night, isn't it? Yeah. It's the Weir derby. My mum's from Scotland, my dad's from Germany.
Right. Okay, what's your prediction? Not between your mum and your dad.
Off the top of my head, I think probably 5-1 to Germany.
Yeah.
Probably first goal, Florian Wirtz. Musiala probably get the second one around the 19th minute. Kai Havertz will get a penalty.
Yeah.
But that'll probably be the second penalty shout, but the first one, VAR will rule it out. And in the second half, Füllkrug probably.
Yeah.
In the 68th minute, Scotland will get one back. I reckon own goal.
Yeah.
Antonio Rudiger would be my guess around the 87th minute, and then Emre Can will seal the misery probably like in stoppage time, say 93rd minute or so.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, and that's just a feeling.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Have a good weekend.
Bye.
Bye.